tell me that I lie. If I can't look you in your eyes, it's very second thing that I will fall. I won't fall. Your tricks do it on me. Don't tell me that I lie. If I can't look you in your eyes, it's very second thing that I will fall. I won't fall. Your tricks do it on me. Don't tell me that I lie. If I can't look you in your eyes, it's very second thing that I will fall. Your tricks will do it on me. Don't tell me that I lie. If I can't look you in your eyes, it's very second thing that I will fall. Your tricks will do it on me.
What's up YouTube, I'm back again with another video, and on this video I will be continuing our series that we are making. And I've already mentioned on our previous tutorial that I will be focusing on EQ on this video. So I will be doing like a little bit of an auto tune on this one. Then I will also do I won't do a lot of auto tuning on this one. I will just like do the basic of auto tuning. Then I'll go to the next episode. I will not go to the next step, of which it is an EQ. Then after going to an EQ, I'll go to the next step, which is the hairstyle. So in this video, I'll be focusing on two things: EQ and the hairstyle, and a little bit of an auto tuning. So if I did a specific video where I showed you guys how to auto tune. So if you want to get your auto tune right, I will leave the link. Just try to check our YouTube channel. You see a video on how to auto tune. And please do let me know if you want me guys to redo or remake that music video. So if you want to auto tune, you need first to understand the key of your beat. If your beat is made on A B major, definitely your auto tune key on your vocals should be on an A B major. So we click this FX to show all that the way to effect. Then you go here, then you go here. What you are using, we are using G. No, what do you use to auto tune? We're using G snap to auto tune. Then you go to select scale. Sometimes you may use F minor. For example, you can go to minor straight. You can use F minor. If this F minor doesn't sound great, go to this F minor pentatonic scale, depending, and just keep listening until it sounds good. If you can hear your F minor pentatonic scale is not sounding good, then use F minor straight. Then even on major, you can use this major until it sounds great. And sometimes you can just try to use chromatic. I believe chromatic involve all the keys, but I don't usually use it because it don't give me the effect that I want. So if you want to get your auto tune right, you need to understand the key of your beat. If your beat is on an F minor, so your vocals should be on F minor. That's the first thing I wanted to explain again. So in this tutorial, I won't be focusing a lot on auto tune, but if you want me guys to do so, please leave the comment and I will do that. So the first thing I mentioned on our previous video, let me click on that FX and let me come here. Then I'll go to EQ, then I'll go to visual EQ. So this is the first thing that I will be focusing on. So this is the first thing I'll be focusing on. So if you come in this section, there are a couple of things that you need to understand. Okay, this is our EQ. Okay, this is our EQ, and on our EQ, as I mentioned previously, in our EQ we have the highs, so this area will be our highs. This area will be our highs. All this box will be our highs. Then here we'll have our mids, and here we'll have our lows. So when you are dealing with vocals, you need to get your vocals a little bit up, push them a little bit high on the highs, because your vocals have a lot of character on the highs. Then you push them a little bit here, then sometimes you can even duck them below this line, then you bring them back up. Why do you do this? Sometimes your vocal, if you push them high in this area, your vocal can get muddy. So you need to listen attentively on your studio headphones and make sure if you choose to boost your vocals in the mids, you don't overly boost your vocals. You boost your vocals in a corrective way. Then around the lows, sometimes you can just drop them here and put them here, because on the lows we don't have a lot of vocals. The only thing that will come here is a bass, so our vocals is not here. The 808, the bass will play around this area, so I usually push them around here. Then from this area, so the entire of this area upon, I just cut my EQ to add around this area because I have nothing. The reason I am doing that a lot of my tutorials, because I want my kick, I want my 808 to have a space to dance on. Then here, that's where like my beat and my vocals, I want my vocals to dance on. And most of the time, actually each and every time, like your hi-hats will be sounding around this area, but you need to show, okay, what is the most important element on your song? Like the vocal, it is the most important element on your song, so you have to boost your vocals around this area and make sure like you are boosting, you are getting your vocal as high and everyone can understand what you are saying. So when you are producing, the first thing you need to put on your vocal chain is called autotune. After putting an autotune, it is EQ. That's the reason today I am doing EQ. How you arrange your plugins, it is autotune, then it is EQ. So what kind of an EQ we should be putting? It is called a subtractive EQ. Subtractive EQ, because you are subtracting a lot of vocals. Let's say as I already mentioned, like I'll be doing a dehazer. Sometimes on your 5000 hertz, that's where like the dehazer plays a huge role. So sometimes you just try to duck here a little bit, because you can hear a lot of clicking sound from your from your vocals. So you have to push it down a little bit, and sometimes you can push them here a little bit, push it dehazer here around a little bit. So I'll do this. I'll do the same thing here so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I said the first thing, you'll come around this area, put 2 dots, then you take this dot, then you push it down, then you push this dot down. So why do I do this? Because because I do know that around this area I don't have any vocals, so I have to tag them. I don't need my EQ to put anything from this area. That's why I'm pushing down. The moment I push it, the moment I do like this, then I push it up. What I'm doing, I'm telling EQ, can you please boost the highs on my vocals? And sometimes we don't need a lot of highs, so sometimes you can just use a little bit of a highs on your song. That around this area, that's when like you'll just take this one and you drop it a little bit, because this is my 5000, and on my 5000, that's where like a lot of those harsh sound on my vocals come from. Then I will usually boost here a little bit. And keep listening to your vocals. Boost and listen. Then you'll just try to drop it a little bit around this area. Let's see, like there's a sound which is playing very hard. You just try to drop it there. Then you try to boost again, and then check another spot. Then try to decrease it a little bit on another spot. So why do you do this? Because you're trying to decrease, let's say like your vocal in some areas that it is sounding high. So the reason you're doing this, you're trying to tag them. You're trying to say, okay, in this area my vocal have a lot of character, so I'll try to push them a little bit so that they can sound equal as another vocals. It is called subtractive EQ because you are subtracting some of the character on your vocal on your waveform of your song so that they can sound good. Okay, let me play this a little bit with this kind of an EQ. I didn't listen into it, I just generalized it. I just did it like explaining. I didn't go back and forth listening to it, but I'll listen to it, then I'll show you like how you guys should do it. Okay, let me just play it for now.
Don't tell me that I lied. Look at you in your eyes. Sorry, second thing that I will fall. Your tricks will do it on me.
So what I can hear, guys, I feel like I need to push I need to put my highs a little bit. I need to push my highs a little bit. Push them a little bit. Then here, just try to drop them a little bit. Then this area, try to make sure it is not that thick. Then go and listen again.
Don't tell me that I lied. If I can look you in your eyes, sorry, second thing that I will fall. Your tricks will do it on me. Don't tell me that I lied. If I can look you in your eyes.
On my ears is sounding great because like I feel like, yes, I did boost the highs, but I boost my highs in the right way. It's not that super harsh and sounding bad. Let me play it without an EQ to show like they're different.
Don't tell me that I lied. If I can look you.
Okay, we have I hope you can hear like a lot of difference. So what is happening? Let me explain what it is happening. So the moment I put my EQ, I took all like the vocal characteristics of the vocal, then I bring them together so that they can come close to one another. Then I choose to boost a little bit of my highs so that it can have a little bit of dryness. So it is dry, a little bit dry. Then I decided to kill around 200 hertz, around 150 to 200 hertz. Then I decided to drop them about negative 90 dB, so you can see around this area. So I decided to drop them about negative 90 dB around this area, 70 dB around this area, about 5 dB. So this area about 6 dB. Then I chose to add about 7 dB on my highs. So this is what is really happening around this area. I'm just boosting and adding. So it is called a subtractive EQ. I hope guys this does make sense a little bit. I hope this does make sense, because if you don't get this stage, you'll find it hard to understand the next step. If you can understand this one, that means you are on the right track. So let me go again. So the first thing you need to do when you are practicing a song, obviously you need to arrange your song. You need to organize all your vocals, blah blah blah, everything. You need to organize and make sure like they're on the correct order, so that when you are mastering the song you don't get confused. That is exactly what we did on our previous episode. So after doing that, organizing and arranging your song, what do you do next? You start to put an auto-tune. The auto-tune, which I already did a tutorials on how to get your auto-tune right on your song. Then after doing your auto-tune, what else do you do? Then you start doing what's so called subtractive EQ. Subtractive EQ is very important, because this is what determines that if you did a subtractive EQ and your song is sounding great in a subtractive EQ, that means your song will sound great when it is finished. I hope you can hear the before and the after in the introduction of this video, because I chose to put it in each and every video so you can understand what kind of a sound that we're trying to achieve. So a lot of people have been telling me, no, what you're doing is totally crash. What you're doing is totally crash. This is not good. This sounds bad. So I decided, okay, if I can show you guys, this is how the song sounded and this is how it should sound after we did everything, you know, and see the process like I did without rushing. Because sometimes I'll show you how to get like let's say I'll show you how to get like a post smoke sound only in 20 minutes, and I'll be rushing and rushing, and sometimes you don't even know why I'm putting this setting plugin, or why am I putting this setting effect. So the reason I'm doing this right now, I want to break it down step by step so you can understand. So I hope you do understand what the EQ does right now. I hope you do understand what the EQ does. I hope you do understand why is it important to arrange, why is it important to organize. Then we go to the next step. The next step is one of the steps. Okay, one of the things I just forget, I almost forget to tell you guys. The rule that you always use, you don't have to do something if you don't see the function of doing it. That's one thing I want to tell you guys before I go to de-essing. Let's say you have a vocal, you decided to EQ your vocal, and you decided to put a de-esser and you put your auto-cue, and you can hear, okay, my vocal is sounding great, so you don't have to compress. If you don't hear that reason to compress, because sometimes you may compress because you saw someone compressing, then that will ruin your song. But sometimes you don't you have to break that rule. Sometimes you have to break that rule. So that's what I wanted to mention before I come to de-essing. So de-essing, where do we find de-essing? Boom. That is de-essing. So what is de-essing? That's the question. What do you mean by de-essing? So de-essing is another kind of a compressor, you know, and de-esser is those one of the few steps that you have to do it whether you like it or not. On each and every vocal chain you need to have a de-esser. On each and every vocal chain you need to have a de-esser. Why? What the de-esser does, my brother once told me, like, bro, like, I didn't get why you do the de-esser. The de-esser sounds bad and blah blah blah, you know. So for me like to explain to you guys, it will be very important for me before I explain anything to you to break down what is a de-esser and how does the de-esser work and why you should be using a de-esser. If you can understand that, then you'll understand why I use de-esser. My laptop is still loading and I don't know why. So that's exactly what I need to be doing right now to show you like the function of a de-esser and why is it important. So the first thing I would love to do is to explain to you what is a de-esser. So a de-esser is the reduction of a sequence of the high frequency sound that are accompanying your vocals using the letters like C, F, S, SH, and X. Let's say you are rapping and say snake hiss. So that hiss, it won't sound good on your ears. It won't sound good on your ears. So that is the reason we de-ess. We don't de-ess because we want to get especially one our vocal to be crispy or anything like that. The reason with de-ess, we are trying to decrease those harsh S sound, the C sound, the T, you know. Let me say, what can I say? The snake hiss, that hiss won't sound good. So what does the de-esser does? What is the function of a de-esser? So a de-esser, let's say this will be a vocal. It will be the wavelength of your vocal. Then you will like the snake hiss. Then around this area, this is where the word hiss is at. This is the word hiss. So what the dehisser will do. Okay, the snake hiss, and this is hiss, and your sound and it is not sounding good around this area. If it's not sounding good, what the dehisser will do, the dehisser will just take this harsh part and try to drop it so that it can sound a little bit downwards, or drop. Instead of making it sound big, you just drop it, cut it like that, and cut it around this area so that it can be level and not sound very harsh. Just cut it like that. It was very big at the beginning. Then what the dehisser does, you just take your vocal and make it sound a little bit down on that S sound. But it does have a negative side. Because if you overly dehiss your song, that means those S sound will sound very quiet, then the rest of your vocal will sound high. So it is very important, like when you're dehissing, to understand how much you should dehiss. So on so many plugins you do have a preset. So here we don't have any preset, but in some of those patches plugin will have a lot of preset: soft dehissing, linear dehissing, those kind of dehissing, because there are so many different things that we dehiss. We do dehiss the cymbals, we do dehiss like kicks sometimes. If your kick is clicking, you can dehiss your kicks. Then with dehiss, we also do dehiss our vocals. So dehissing is just like compressing stress, how much you want to compress. Sometimes we can call it like a threshold. I'll just take this, then I'll push it a little bit backwards. Analytic frequency, just leave it there. My sensitivity, allow my sensitivity there. But if it doesn't sound good, I have to push it down again and again.
Don't tell me that I lie. If I can't look you in your eyes.
Okay, so the only thing that I want you guys to focus on, don't tell me that I lie. That T, because as I already mentioned, the dehisser deals with no sound. It's S, T, S, H, sh, those kind of a sound. So let's focus on that tell sound. You don't tell me that I lie. So let's hear, like, is it that place? Is it dehissed well?
Don't tell me that I lie. If I can't look you in your eyes,
if you can listen to I feel like the first part is well dehissed. If you can listen to this area, you can still hear that is the second time, something like that. And here it still sounds great. That means that the dehisser did work great. That's the second thing I'll do, something like that. You can hear, okay, you can hear, okay, it sounds great. It is not harsh, and you can understand perfectly what this artist is trying to say. It's not like that secondly, like it is nearly pushed down that you cannot even hear it on the beat. So that is what the dehisser does. So before I can say, like, the dehisser can sound like a little bit simple, but it is complex. So before I can say we are done with the dehisser, I would love to explain it a little bit. I would like to go deep to it and keep explaining so that you can understand exactly what the dehisser is. It may look simple, but it is not simple at all. So the sibilance is generally grading unnatural sounds that sometimes occur during recording session when a vocalist sings too many words that include the letter S. So simply, as I already mentioned, it is those S sound. So the sound of the S contain a lot of energy in the frequency range naturally when your ears are very sensitive. As I did mention, like, your ears are very sensitive. This area will be boosted. As I already mentioned, this area will be boosted. Let me just use a circle. As I already mentioned, this area will be boosted. This is how your vocal. This is your vocal. Your vocal is just straight like that. This is your vocal. Your vocal is just straight like that. then this area will be boosted. And this is your dehazer. This is your dehazer. This area is your S sound. It just boosted your vocal from this area, and you can hear, and it don't sound good on your headphones. So the dehazer will just try to take this part which is not sounding good, that S sound, and just try to decrease it a little bit. Then try to decrease it. It will just decrease this area. It will just decrease this area, just like that, so that it don't have to sound harsh on that specific area. So that is what the dehazer does, So the vocal marks those days are legendary, designed to capture the subtle details in a human voice. To do this properly, they have to be sensitive enough and to be able to record a wide range of frequencies. Because sometimes the mic I am using, it can record a guitar, it can record hi-hats. So the mic is designed in a way that it can record any kind of things, and at the same time it should record your vocals. So it can record your vocals clearly. It can record your vocal clearly. So that's why I said this step, dehazing, it is very important. Whether you can do it or you can't do it, you have to dehaze your vocals. So the area upper I and that they capture will help create a sense of realism and intimacy. During your mix, you may bring out these qualities with compressor and EQ for a more powerful, larger than live sound. So as I already mentioned, so I decided to write a little bit of a note to make sure you guys understand what I'm saying. So for example, around this area, so I know I do have to dehaze, then I'll bring this a little bit down, then I'll come to my dehazer. My dehazer is also playing on the same 5000 hertz range. 5000 hertz rate. It is bringing down the a little bit. That's why towards the end you will start to reboost your vocal with what's so called, what do they call it, saturation. You will need to put a little bit of a saturation so your vocal can be good, and you will still have to put a little bit of what's it called, limiters or compressors. I usually like to put a limiter because a limiter can limit and at the same time can compress. Then you can compress and you can put a limiters, and then at the end of the day, then you can gain. You can push up all your vocals to sound a little bit big. So that is what a compressor, that's what a dehazer does. It takes those sound and tries to push them a little bit downwards. I think what I'm saying, it does make sense, but guys, if you don't, please let me know, because I did prepare this thing, and I wrote a couple of notes to make sure you guys understand. So the first thing about the dehazer is dancing on the 5000 range of your EQ. So this is where the dehazer, sometimes the dehazer can be around this area or about this area, but around the 5000, because sometimes it is wise to give it like this. But doing it like this, you can sometimes dehaze the areas that don't need to be dehazed. So that's why it is very important to do to make it a little bit narrow. Then after doing this, you come to a dehazer. Your dehazer, a compression strength, or what we call a threshold, will just drag it a little bit. Then we use our sensitivity there. Then we have our analysis frequency. We just leave it there. You don't have to touch it. Sometimes if you are here, you can hear, let's say you are rapping and you are calling a lot of S, you can increase your sensitivity. It's just that this artist is singing and don't even call those S and the SC sound very big time. But if it does, you can just take this and push it up, But just because this artist he's not doing that, you just put it there around that 5 frequency range, So another thing about the dehazer, we do know our dehazer, those S sound contain a lot of energy, a lot of frequencies. When you're listening to your earphones or to your speakers, you can clearly hear them. They're not sounding good. That's why dehazing is very important. I hope my brother D Cartoon I think it's the cartoon, I'm not sure, but sorry if I call your name incorrectly. You do understand what I'm trying to say right now, what is dehassing and why I dehassed on my previous tutorial. You know, I hope now you do understand why I do dehass. Guys, if my dehassing, like if it's still you don't understand, about dehassing, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you don't understand why I dehass and what is the function of dehassing, please feel free to let me know why I dehass. So those are the two things that I wanted us to focus on in this tutorial. So you can apply the same thing on your vocal left and also on your vocal right. You can do the same thing, but one thing, me personally, I'm not sure about other mix engineers, I don't like to put my auto tune on my backing vocals, on my other layers of my vocals. So if I'm putting auto tune on my main vocal, I won't put my auto tune in this area, on this second voice. I won't put my auto tune in this third vocal. You know, I just want to keep them raw, and I push them to a little bit to the left, and I'm putting them a little bit to the right. One thing that I will do to my vocals, to my following vocals, I'll just make sure that they are heavily EQ'd, they are heavily compressed. Not compressing, they are compressing. I usually use hard compressor, but don't push the compressor very hard, you know, because they still need to have that realistic sound on them. That's why I don't like to put auto-tune on those vocals. I just make sure like they are EQ'd, they are very crispy, you know. That's what I will do. I hope, guys, what I just said, it does make sense, and I hope, guys, it does make sense. Let me play it for the last time so you can understand for the last time, then I stop it.
Don't tell me that I lied. If I can look you in your eyes, sorry, second thing that I will fall.
I think that's good. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you on the next tutorial. I'm not sure what I will be focusing on, but I think it's compression. But I'll see you there.